Hey guys, Avery Carl from the Short Term Shop here. I wanted to welcome you into our 10-episode deep dive on the Outer Banks and Carolina Beach, but also to let you know that we have some supplemental materials to this on our website for you guys. It's called theshorttermshop.com, and there we have a section where you can look at properties in these markets, see what the current purchase prices are. You can set it up to save a search for you and email you anytime a new property in those markets in your price range comes out. We also have the AirDNA data, thanks to our friends over at AirDNA for this market. So you can use those two things to analyze. We've got a calculator for you there too to help tie it all together. And if you guys are ready to maybe start talking to an agent in this market, you can email us at agents@theshorttermshop.com and we will connect you to our expert agents in this market. Or maybe you're not ready to do that, but you just want to hang out with us more, and that's cool because we want to hang out with you too. And we have a Facebook community where you can do that. It's called Short-Term Rental, Long-Term Wealth, same title as my book. And it's just a community of 60,000 of our closest friends who are sharing best practices and just kind of hanging out with other real estate investors. So it's pretty cool. We hope to see you over there. And last but not least, if you have questions, you want to talk to a real person like myself, it will be myself actually, and Luke. We have an open office hours every Thursday, and you can sign up for that at strquestions.com, and you can ask us any questions that you have about short-term rental investing. But now we'll get to the episode.
Short-term show special episodes. We are in the beaches of North Carolina today. I am Cashflow Carl, the proud host of Short-Term Rental Management, wherever podcasts are listened to, and also the Director of Education for the Short-Term Shop, which we have two agents from the shop on the call. Joe is in the southern end of the state in Carolina Beach market, and Meg is in the Outer Banks. And we do have a repeat offender client from the Short-Term Shop. We've got Beth Mulholland, who has been nice enough to come on and share parts of her journey, which is just an honor and a delight. So thank you guys. As today we are discussing setup. Can be very scary when you're new, especially when you don't realize what you've just gotten yourself into, which is about 47 trips to Home Depot. And spending a bunch of money that you can't even keep track of until you get home and go through all those receipts and all of this other craziness. So I think we're going to stick to brass tacks today, try to make things as simple as possible. And I think that a good place to start there would be get the very first impression of any home in the world, especially when it comes to renting some strange home you've never been to, is the deadbolt, the lock on the front of the home. I'm going to just briefly, I'll give you my system, and then if anybody wants to chime in with their system. My thing here, first of all, is that there's no right answer, no right or wrong answer, whatever works for you. And it's going to be a lot of that today. Because there is so much awesome technology out there in the world of rental real estate and homes in general. We've come a long way in the last few years. As a matter of fact, about probably 3 or 4 years ago, we were really not looking at a lot of good options for deadbolts. And now we've got several. You've got the Schlage Encode, which is kind of the most popular option out there. Schlage Encode, however you want to pronounce it. And then there's a Yale. Yale actually has a marine lock, a marine grade lock. That's what they call it, the Yale Marine. And it's made for dealing with the weather, which is something that I'll have Joe or Meg or whoever wants to talk about in just a minute. But, there's many options out there. Quickset Halo is another one. August Smart Locks. There's quite a few options. I'm a Schlage guy. I'm a Schlage Encode guy. One thing I do is to mitigate, because I do have beach properties myself, to mitigate the possibility of moisture, because that is a thing. I just swap them every year. I swap my beach deadbolts every year in December. I like the integration that Schlage provides. And again, plenty of options. Joe, I'll turn it over to you. What do you do? And has the moisture thing ever been an issue for you?
Oh yeah. Moisture has always been a problem. That's actually why I switched from the Schlages, because mine kept filling up with water because the humidity was so bad. I'm a Yale guy. I love the Yales across the board. They do great for me. But I will say I found that it wasn't the Schlage's fault that they were filled with water. I had a AC vent that was pointed. It was like on the other side of the room, but it was pointed right at it. And so it was just getting blasted with cold air, which was causing it to condensate inside. So check your AC vents. Sometimes that's why your locks are always frying.
Yes. That's very interesting. You bring that up. That's not the lock's fault. But I will say, I just the other day took a lock off of a condo that was on the water, and it dropped water out of the lock when I took it off of and this was one that
out.
You pouring out. It's like, I was thirsty. You know what I mean? So it's and this lock did have, because a lot of times they'll tell you to put caulk or silicone to keep the moisture out. And this had silicone all the way around it. And it was like perfectly done. There's a buddy of mine's house. And he's like, man, I don't even know how, but there's still a hole for the key, so there's that. I was almost wondering if the silicone worked against him because there was no way for the moisture to escape. I don't know. So it's a weird vibe there. Anybody else have any comments? Beth, what are you using? That kind of thing?
Yeah, we have the Schlegs as well. And we're about 50-50 right now, moved up to the on-codes. We actually had like the old school Schleg that you connect with the smart hub, and we've been slowly turning those over. So we like the on-codes a lot. But we never had a problem with the little bit lower tech version of it as well, where you have the separate hub to make it Wi-Fi capable. It's one more piece. It's kind of unnecessary, but for us starting out, it worked really well.
Okay, great. Again, proving my point that it is kind of the on-code versus everything else, but Meg, do you have any experience there?
We've always stuck with Yale.
Yep.
Yeah. The ones that worked with, we're like Joe.
Team Yale.
Yeah.
So, again, we don't really have a dog in that hunt for the deadbolts. We don't really care who you use. Pick one that works for you. An excellent point that's been made is that switching brands, if you plan to scale in any way, end up with 2, 3, 4 houses to switch brands is kind of a pain in the rear end. So if you're starting to feel like after your first lock that you're not really like vibing with this thing, maybe that's a good time to just cut the cord on the first one and move to a different brand, that kind of thing. But quick set, Yale, Schlage Encode. Quick set would be the Halo, is probably the biggest, most fancy quick set out there. There's Eufy, there's August Smart Locks. There's tons of them out there now. Anything else that we need to cover on the have a backup key. Gotta have a key, right? So here I stole this from Tim, who's one of our agents in the Smokies. This is really, really cool trick, and I'm happy to give him credit for it. So step 1, get a lockbox to put a key. In case your battery dies, somebody can't get in, whatever the case may be, you got a backup plan with a key. Now you can't do that with the Nest Yale. The Nest Yale does not have a keyhole. It's got a 9-volt battery backup. So there's a way in the weeds on that one. One more thing about that. Don't put the backup key lockbox anywhere near the front door, because your guests are going to try and put your door code into the lockbox because they're just not that smart. They're on vacation, right? Probably half drunk. So put it like somewhere they can't immediately see it. There's a good tip. And then here's Tim's trick. This is really cool. He gets another lockbox, puts it inside the house, just random anywhere, puts 4 AA batteries in that lockbox so that if the key is necessary because the deadbolt is dead batteries, guaranteed 4 batteries in that lockbox because it's got a lock code on it, right? So that's pretty cool. If you just have AA's laying around the house, of course, they're going to disappear. So that's the beauty of having that interior lockbox. Of course, maybe an owner's closet suffice as well, but kind of nice to have that extra backup plan. I love Tim's idea there of the 4 locked AA batteries for crap moments. Anything we missed on deadbolts, folks?
I don't think so.
We crushed it. That's a good one.
Too much. Said it all. All right. Now here's another one. This one gets even more in the weeds as to opinions. Again, not anywhere near right or wrong answers. And I'm going to kind of lump the next 2 topics into one, which would be linens and towels, sheets and towels. And again, this is probably not an area where I should consider myself an expert, because really at the end of the day, I don't really care that much. I guess the first thing to cover there is white versus not white is a huge topic. I'm a not white guy. I find that white sheets and towels get gross, and you can bleach them all day long, and then eventually they just turn yellow, and they don't hide things enough for me personally. Anybody want to choose a side on white versus color for your sheets and towels?
I'll take the white side.
Okay, here we go.
I started out as a color person.
Yeah.
I was fully team color, and I just found that when we would go visit the properties, I noticed a lot more any like stains or discolorations on those. We switched everything to white. And I would say like I'm still replacing everything just as frequently because you're right. They get dirty, they get dingy, they don't look new. But I was doing that anyway. And so I felt like the white looked better during the year and a half until we had to go through that replacement round than the colored ones did. So I know both, but I'm firmly team white now.
And you are 100% right. You're 100% right. If you're white, go ahead and be white. I mean, hotels are doing white. You know what I mean? So anybody else comments on just sticking with the colors?
I'm white too. When I want, yes, absolutely. I want to know what's on my sheets and if they need to be replaced. I'm not going to just keep washing them. If they're nasty, they need to go. And white will tell me that. And it's nice to get into a nice white, crisp, clean bed. I'm 100% white.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Luke, you're going it alone here, man. Team white
man,
all day long.
Look at that.
We're teaming up on you this time. And white everything. Like I do the white coverlets, I do the white sheets, white towels. You name it. I just recently put in the black makeup wipes or the black makeup towels. And 100% team white. Forces your cleaners to be better too.
Well, you have to have the makeup towels if you're doing white. You have no choice if you're doing white towels. I mean, that's because
you can replace tons of them like I did.
Right. You're going to go through them.
Yeah.
You're going to go through them. I don't like the white, man. To me, it just doesn't have enough character for me. And I do find they wear out a little faster. That's just me. I usually just get gray, but gray is like super played out now, so maybe like a sage green is kind of what I go with. And I have a spreadsheet for that. Here's a good tip that I think you guys can agree on. You probably do this as well, but once I find a towel or a sheet that I'm digging and I get the exact same sheets and towels for every house, whether it's beach or mountain, with the exception of the size of the bed. King is going to get a different color than queen. So it's easy when they're doing laundry to say, okay, this is a queen. They don't have to look for the tag and all that. My cleaners have never thanked me for that, but I just kind of feel like it's the right thing to do. And I spreadsheet it. So I just have an Amazon link on a spreadsheet. My spreadsheet is actually titled STRSHIT. And I noticed that yesterday. I'm like, my kids are getting a little older. Maybe I need to change the name of that spreadsheet, but it's got links to the Amazon, the Amazon link for the items. And so I can just, I've got a couple people on my team. Hey, we need new sheets and towels. We need new towels, 5 sets of towels at such and such house. They click the link, send 5 to that cleaner. Boom. Nice, easy. Because again, let's say a year goes by and you've got half of your towels are junk and the other half maybe are still kind of hanging on. You could just replenish half of them instead of all of them, maybe that kind of thing. And if they're the exact same towels, anybody else there with any thoughts or systems?
We just did the exact same thing. Just sent half of a set of towels, and we just have we actually use Amazon wish lists. So we have one for like each property with all the stuff that we bought for that property. Because while the towels and linens might be the same, sometimes there's other little things that are different. So it makes it super easy. You literally just click reorder and it's off to the cleaners. And as much as, we like to support local on other things, with towels and linens and stuff that you need to be able to sometimes get out quick, Amazon's the easiest way.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
I'm a Costco guy for my towels. I love me some Costco. Costco's top notch. But
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, everything else is same way. Amazon, put it on my spreadsheet, and when things get ruined, ship it out. But we do just a big Costco run every year and load that baby up.
Totally agree. Costco and Sam's Club both have fantastic towels, like dynamite, especially for the price. I actually I started with the Sam's Club towels for the first few years, and I cycled those out because it got difficult when you run low or run out. You have no choice but to, at least with Sam's Club. I don't know if Costco is different. You got to go to Sam's Club and get them. You can buy them online, but it's a wonky process, and they're always like really low on stock. I think they're kind of their business model is they want you to come in the store. You see those giant carts full of everything, and they're doing that on purpose, right? And it's fun. It is fun, but So that for that reason, I had to cycle those out and go straight full-time Amazon. And I'll throw, if you guys want to throw brands out there, I'm happy to do that. I use the Utopia towels. Are they bulletproof? No. They do, there's some downsides. Sometimes they're, don't last as long as I'd like, that kind of thing. They're not nearly as fluffy and nice as a Costco Joe towel, not even close, but I can ship them and they're easy to get and nice colors, a lot of different colors. They come in a pack. You can get, individual sizes, or you can get, like a family pack kind of thing where it's like 2, 4, and 2 or whatever. So I use Utopia towels and I use California Design Den sheets, which sounds like this crazy thing, but it's really just like the one that has the most reviews on Amazon. It's really easy to find. But I've had great success with those. I am cotton only on my sheets. Anything other than cotton is junk, in my opinion. Love somebody to change my mind on that. But microfiber, garbage, bamboo, total garbage. Cotton only for me, and I like those California Design Den. Anybody else have any brands or fabrics that they prefer?
I've got no hill to die on here. I mean,
neither do I.
Follow you, man. I buy the good ones that are good reviews, and I might have a little bamboo in there. Who knows?
Oh yeah, okay.
I like the bamboo personally. I agree they don't hold up on the rentals. The washing doesn't do well for them.
I spend a little bit more on my sheets and my rentals than most folks, I think. Like $70 a set, maybe $80, $90 a set, which maybe I shouldn't, but I don't hear about them. So that's my goal. Nobody else has a brand they want to throw out there. I don't want to be the only brand guy. Joe went Costco, so that'll count. But Beth, you don't have a brand?
My brand.
Okay.
You do the same towels. It starts with an M, but it's another one of those things. Highly rated on Amazon. You look at it, it's one of the first few that comes up.
I'll throw 2 more out there. Target has great towels if you're shopping in real life, and JCPenney, believe it or not, if it still exists, they've got really great towels. Beth seems to agree with me there. Now that I have to go sell all 3 of my motorcycles for having this conversation, we should probably move on to let's go with the hardwares of the home. We already covered deadbolts, but let's go to thermostats. This is going to be another one where, it's turned into a debate here, So with thermostats, I guess the main point there is that you do want to have it on your phone. Doesn't have to be right now, but as soon as possible, so that you have a way to keep an eye on things. HVAC, especially now, is probably the most expensive function of the home, except for maybe the roof, which you can't really put Wi-Fi. What's that going to tell you? Your roof is 2 years old. So, but with the HVAC, when the guest says we can't, your air conditioner doesn't work, it's hot in here, you just go on your phone, and 90% of the time it's because they had the heat on instead of the air conditioner. So you just switch it and let it run. So you've had that happen?
Just literally last week, they told me that it wasn't working and they had it on heat. Yep.
Yeah. And then the funny part is, Beth, is that you still have to kiss their rear end and say, "Oh my goodness, I don't know what happened there. We'll get that. Looks like we got it fixed for you."
It for you, no worries. Something funky must have happened. It's on the right setting now. Don't worry.
It's not because you're drunk and dumb. It's we love you.
Not because your kids decided to go up to the thermostat and start punching buttons.
Let me hit as many buttons as possible. But we do love our guests, and we're joking, but we love our guests. Can't do it without them. So I'm a Nest guy, or I'm sorry, a Honeywell guy. Nest is an option. I'm a Honeywell guy. Simple, easy. Looks like a regular old thermostat, but it's digital, and you can connect it to your phone. So Nest, Ecobee is a very popular option. Amazon just came out with their own thermostat. Seems to be getting good reviews on Amazon. So why wouldn't it be getting reviews on their own platform? But anybody else? What do you guys think about thermostats?
We're Nest with our Yale.
Nest and Yale, same company, right?
Yeah,
sort of.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm very much in the camp of if you're. I just have regular ones. I don't even have smart ones at all. I just put them on there and just let people run with them. And if your HVAC is freezing up, it's because it's too old. Replace it.
So we actually only have a smart one in Carolinas, in North Carolina. So we still are old school in our Smokies properties for now. But eventually we'll probably update it, but we just haven't had a reason to yet. So, but yeah, we have the Honeywell.
Cool. Yeah, I like the Honeywell T9, and I really like. I mean, I've got one in every home. You know, some homes have 2 or 3, and you can just it's a drop down menu. Nests are really, really cool. So the one Meg's using, they're super cool and hip. But they are fancy and like kind of maybe need a little explaining at times. And then the Ecobee, I don't know if you guys have ever had an experience with those. They are like, what in the hell is this thing? It's like a spaceship. I stayed in a rental with one, and I consider myself I'm very interested in HVAC. I every time I come in contact with an HVAC guy, I'm asking him like 1,000 questions. I want to know everything about it, you know. And Ecobee, I was like, dude, this thing is too much, man. But they are cool. So if you're running like the hip shack, you know, like your house is like the coolest hip, like I'm a social, you know, influencer, no W2, death to W2 kind of guy or whatever. Ecobee, there you go. That's for you, man. They're super cool. But I'm not going to sit there and explain that to people, you know. What else? Did we miss anything on thermostats? Good. Everybody's good. Cameras. All right. I'm going to keep talking. Cameras, again, several brands out there. There's Ring, Nest, there's Arlo. Roku just came out with their own cameras that you can buy at Walmart. So that's pretty cool. And I have to imagine it's probably a pretty decent product. So the brand, again, same, it's a theme here today. The brand is just kind of up to you. Now the camera in general, it's old school short-term shop style culture, if you will, to not really look at your cameras, because that is a big mistake that folks make when they first get into this business. They're nervous and they're like kind of just like staring at their phone, waiting for somebody to do something stupid. You can't really do that. Really, to me, that means you're just kind of proving that you're not doing your job as a good manager. But it is, you know, again, you just bought, if you're buying a $900,000 house and on the beach, you probably should have a $300 camera to keep an eye on things. I'll throw a brand. I'm a Ring guy. I love Ring. I'm a Shark Tank fan, and that's where Ring came from, even though he famously didn't get the deal. But I've never had any problems, knock on wood, like at all, with the dozens of Ring cameras that I own. I love them, but I think all of them are kind of, you know, on par these days. Again, I'm going to turn it over to you guys if you have any comments or want to wear the t-shirt of a particular brand.
We actually have all Nests right now, but I don't know that I want to wear the t-shirt, because literally it comes back to what we talked about with the locks of we're so far in it now that we're not ready to commit to switching all of them. But we personally have a Ring, and if I could do it all over again, I think I would go that route. I like that it's hardwired in.
Oh, so your Nests are battery?
They're plugs, but they're like, you have to like run an actual plug to an actual outlet, you know, whereas like the Rings kind of, you wire them up for their own setup. So
I have to believe that that Nest offers a hardwired, maybe.
That's a great question.
I would imagine they do, but then of course, if you don't already have the you know, the electrical, then you got to get an electrician and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
But excellent point.
Some of our properties, a Ring would be difficult because, you know, you usually put it next to the door facing out, and some of them, that's not the camera shot that would be useful to us. So like the doors, you know, sideways to the driveway. 2
excellent points. Number one, you want hardwired if you're going to do a camera. Battery and cords and all that, it's a pain in the rear end. And if it's hardwired, it's always got power and it's always going to work, you know. So that's point number one. Number two, the cameras need to be, this is not legal advice. Please make sure you're doing what your local area recommends, etc. Camera needs to be pointed at a, you know, basically at the driveway. It's not allowed. Airbnb and Vrbo language, I believe, says the word living area, living space. If it's an area where a human is like just hanging out, even a porch, I think that's technically not allowed. But again, check with Airbnb and Vrbo. Make sure you're putting your camera in the right direction. Joe, I'm starting to get the vibe that you're a little on the low tech side. Do you have cameras?
Oh, that's harsh. That hurts. I'm actually a Reolink guy. So I've got Reolink cameras everywhere, and I'm in the same boat as Beth. I can't switch because I've got like 30 of them now, and which is just nuts. and they're okay. They're all solar powered, battery powered battery powered cameras. And so I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't check them unless there's a problem. And so I have had a couple times where the thing has just died because we don't have sun and I've missed whatever I needed to see. So it's one of those things that works probably 90% of the time. So I've been happy with them.
I've never heard of those. Are they cool in general? I mean, where can I get one?
Yeah, I get them off Amazon. I get I get like a solar panel and the camera for like $80, something like that, $70. And it does the whole cloud storage, whole 9 yards. And I just keep a bunch of extra ones in case one does fry, but they've been pretty good. They hold up to weather, indoor, outdoor. They're great.
All right. Meg, do you have a camera you like?
Nest. We use the Nest cameras. If we don't have guests there, we get notified, it can tell the difference if it's an animal. So those who have issues with critters out there, you're not getting constant notifications that you've got animals, and it can identify humans. But we love Nest. We love our Nest. We're really in that. We're very committed to that
Wonderful.
little family.
Okay. Getting way too much info today, and it's a lot of fun nerding out with you guys. What are we going to do here with the televisions? I don't really have much of a system there. I usually get like a little bit nicer TV, like a Samsung or something, and put a Roku stick. I'm not all that in love with my system. I do like the guest mode on the Roku sticks because I can put a welcome message for the guests. You can even change it for each guest if you want to online. And it's like at a hotel, welcome to blah, blah, blah. And you can even put their name on there if you really want to go nuts. But we don't do that. We just put welcome from our company or whatever. I mean, TVs are so cheap now, which is really cool. But anybody have a TV system that they want to mention?
I love my Rokus. I buy the whole TV setup though. So I try to I like bigger TVs. I like big ones, 55, 65-inch TVs if it'll fit. But all about those Rokus. They're incredible.
Yeah, we
so
do.
You get the Roku TV?
Yeah. I get the actual Roku TV. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like the Hisenses a little more, but I like them both, but
we do the Hisense as well. We recently switched to that. So we have some properties that still have the sticks. And then everything we've bought in the last 2 years has been the Hisense. We do the TCLs that have the Roku, but everything's smart. We don't do cable boxes.
Only way to go. I'm going to start cycling out my Roku. For some reason, I decided my houses would be nicer with a nice TV like an LG or a Samsung or whatever, or Sony, and put the stick. But looking back on it, it's just one more stupid thing I got to deal with. And if they unplug it to put their video games, isn't it a pain in the?
We just
sometimes I don't. Yeah, they lose them. It's a nightmare. Sometimes I don't hear about them for 6 months, and then all of a sudden, oh man, today's going to be the day. I hear about like 6 of them in one day. Yeah. So what was I going to say? I agree with Joe. Bigger the better. I personally like to see an 8 in front of it in the living room. I like to see an 80 or bigger in the living room because I want my house to be impressive. I want them to say, "Wow, that's bigger than the one we've got at home." Again, if you got a smaller property or a condo, maybe that's not going to work, but. Okay, moving on then. This is one I'm not good at. Let's talk kitchen and coffee. Let's go specifically coffee for right now. I personally don't. I drink decaf. I'm way too much energy. I'm caffeine free 14 years, so not the right guy to ask about this. But I do get every gadget you can find on my bigger houses. I get an espresso. I get a Keurig, a drip maker, a French press, etc., and just have like a little station going on there. I never hear about it. I never hear about the houses that have way more stuff than the house that has one Keurig, and nobody ever says, we're really glad you had that fancy drip maker. I have some houses where I have a fancy drip maker and a cheap Mr. Coffee drip maker, just in case they can't figure out the fancy drip maker. But nobody ever thanks me. Any coffee tips or suggestions, guys?
We do the pot with the cups, just the Keurig. I think espresso makers are complicated and messy. And to me, it's just keep it simple. So people make a cup of coffee. Go hit the local coffee shop if you want like a fancy coffee drink. Yeah, we keep it pretty low key too. We've kind of made like a cutesy, coffee bar at one of our cabins, but we don't go too crazy with the makers. Although I will say, as someone who likes to drink lattes above any other type of coffee, I appreciate
when I walk into a place and they have an espresso maker, that's like a huge plus. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to book a place for that. So I guess take that information as you will.
There you go. Yeah, I set up a little coffee bar, but I just have the cheap Mr. Coffee, and then we have like coffee grounds in a cute little container. But I get so many comments about like how much they love the coffee and like what brand it is, and it's Folgers.
Right.
No way. Really?
It's 100% Folgers.
Wow.
I get the same thing in my soaps, like put them in the fancy little like glass ones, and it's what's the Walmart version. I get people all the time. They're like, it's so moisturizing. It's wonderful. I'm like, it's 80 cents.
I did the exact same thing years ago. Avery and I stayed in a short term in Mexico, actually, and it was a coffee grounds in like a, I don't know what you call it, a canister, with like a pop top lid with a seal. And she opened it up and she goes, "Oh, this is the best coffee. This is such good coffee." And I'm thinking to myself, dude, that's Maxwell House. What are you talking about? And so I went out and bought a bunch of canisters and the cheapest coffee I could find. I get the McDonald's stuff, and same thing, man. Everybody loves it. It's brilliant. And by the way, when I said espresso, I get the one with the pods. It's like, I think it's called a Nespresso, and you got to go get the pods. I don't provide them. But it's there. I don't know. It looks cool. But yeah, the espresso machines. I looked into that for a minute and I was like, dude, this thing's going to be a mess.
They're hard to figure out too if you don't normally use them.
Then you got to put a QR code with a YouTube video. And, spices, hot sauces, any kind of stuff like that. I don't do, it's not my thing.
I feel like we're still kind of coming out of COVID mode with that. We haven't really decided how much path forward. A lot of the basics get left, and kind of just carried forward. So when we're there, we'll kind of restock a little bit, but we don't go crazy.
Yeah, same. I throw it out. I don't like other people's stuff. They've been you don't know what they've done to it or anything like that. And I'm like, I got the salt and pepper I provide. I've got my own little spices if we have any, but normally don't. Tea, coffee, stuff like that. But I don't like other people's leftovers hanging out in the building.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to photos. You guys have, I would assume, as agents in your markets, probably some photographers you can recommend. I guess what do you what does it cost me to get a nice set of photos taken? Can I get drone photos, that kind of thing?
$250, $300, I'd say.
That's cheap.
Typically, yeah, it's not too bad. They'll do the whole thing, come in and do the professional photos of the whole place. And you can go more expensive if you want and get, I like to cycle in additional shots and stuff like that. So sometimes I like to get 2 or 3 photographers to do stuff. But we got tons of them down here.
They have a lot of photographers here will do kind of like an a la carte. You can do, just interiors, or you can go ahead and do the drone and they'll let you you can choose your steps. But yeah, I would say looking around $250.
That's cheap. That's very cheap. Down here where I'm at right now, it's like $1,000 in the Emerald Coast. So, I mean, that's with drone and with a video walkthrough and all the fancy bells and whistles. But I always get all that stuff. Any other tips on photos? I like to put 40, 50 on a listing. I feel like that's a good number. But we good there? Yeah. Have great photos. They will make you more money.
Absolutely.
Decor. What kind of decor are we doing here? What are we looking for in these beach areas? And are there plenty of furniture stores to pick from? That kind of thing. Meg, I feel like that's your wheelhouse there.
Yeah, no, it is actually. I didn't know if Beth wanted to talk about what she had done. Ultimately, you're going to want to get rid of the carpet. Often you're going to see, you might have the LVP on the floors. But a lot of the bedrooms here still do carpet. And, ultimately, I think eventually you're going to probably want to pull all of that out. You can have little area rugs if you want someone to, when they put their feet off the bed and to step onto. But get rid of the carpet. It just ends up smelling kind of wet. And if people are bringing their animals, it's going to get kind of animal smelling in there. So I would say starting with that. Beth, what did you guys do?
We do still have the carpet on our mid-level, which is the bedrooms, but it's high on the list of things that are still getting upgraded. It's kind of one of those things where so many properties have it that it didn't move to the top of the list of things to go because we're not really competing with many places that don't have it. But if we had it throughout the whole house, oh gosh, yeah, like it would be gone. Luckily our top floor is all hard floors already. And I think LVP throughout will be the long-term game plan there?
Furniture, I glossed over that. Furniture stores, they are here, and a lot of the companies will deliver, and they will bring your pieces in for you and set them up for you. I know of another company actually who will take stuff out of your house for you. So, we definitely have furniture stores here that service the entire beach.
And we were able to get most of our things delivered when we were not there. In and out, same company for the most part. Very similar to, like, we also own in the Smokies, very similar to the experience there. They're all used to the door code life, right? You give them the door code, they get in, they set it up how you've told them to set it up, and boom, you're done.
I agree. Only way to fly. Go local. Everything I've ever bought on Amazon and Wayfair was dead in a year and a half. Okay, cool.
And one thing you run into is that sometimes you can't, there's no mail delivery service to your house if it's, if that neighborhood is kind of set up that way where you have to add yourself, for a post service. So you can get into a little bit of trouble sometimes if whatever you're shipping ends up being USPS instead of UPS or FedEx. Because then it'll be non-deliverable and you won't have your furniture when you thought you were going to have it.
When I buy these things, is it very, a lot of times the decor going to be old grandma style stuff, or it's going to run the gamut? I can find something that's new and remodeled, or what am I looking at?
All over the board, across the whole spectrum. You might get full grandma. You might get completely turnkey, amazing boho style with all your black hardware and your nice natural wood colors. It's all across the board, but I do see more grandmas than not, I'd say, because everybody's coming for the beach. Like, that's our big draw here. And so a lot of people try to run with their furniture for too long. And so it's a good spot to make some changes, but that's not my expertise. That's not my my section. I'm more of the run the numbers, buy the stuff guy.
Yeah, there's still a lot of the wood trim that I think makes a lot of the properties here look pretty dated. If there's an opportunity to brighten and paint the wood, and I think there are small things that you can do pretty easily to really update a place without having to rip apart kitchens and bathrooms and things. If you do some fresh paint, if you can pull out the carpet, put down the laminate or the LVP rather, and those are going to be some pretty big things. But again, like Joe said, you're going to see things that are ready to go. Those properties you're going to see the answer in the price. They're going to be more expensive and they're going to go more quickly. Or you can find something and, wait till the fall or the winter and get in there and make it your own. What did you guys do, Beth?
Yeah, I was going to say our house was one of the ones where they ran with the furniture too long. So we replaced the entire living room furniture before we, got to summer season. The couch was one of those ones where, there was kind of a permanent indent from where everybody chose to sit. So it was pretty crazy that they were still renting it that way. But we were able to update that living room furniture and kind of run with it from there. Fresh paint, like you said. We do have some of that natural wood, but we actually have a really beautiful wood ceiling that we left alone because it looks really nice. So, it's one of those things where, like Joe said, there are a lot of houses with that grandma look. And so you don't really have to go too far above that to start rising to the top, which is nice when you're buying a 3,000 square foot house and you don't necessarily want to redo it from top to bottom day one. It's such a short season, a beach season, that sometimes you just got to do what you can to get it going for that season. And so that was kind of our approach last year is okay, this living room needs to be brought up to, modern times, not like the couch has been here for 20 years, which it probably had, and really just kind of rise above what the average person is doing and then keep going from there. So that's kind of been our approach is get above the average and then just keep, stepping it up every year.
Love that. Love that. Any idea what you paid for the living room set?
Probably it was a little bit more on the expensive side. We did kind of choose some brandy, I guess, furniture. It's a beach market. So I would say the furniture stores there are a little bit higher end perhaps than what we see in some of the other markets. So maybe we were in for $6,000 or $7,000. That would probably be my best guess off the top of my head. That'd be 2 couches and a end table, coffee table set up.
Well, that's nice stuff. It's stuff you have confidence for a number of years.
Yeah. It's held up really well. We are pet friendly and we haven't had any issues. we ask guests to keep them off the furniture, but that's not always happening.
Because if you're new and you hear $7,000, you're like, oh my goodness, and you could definitely do it for much, much, much cheaper. Maybe you find something that's slightly used or something on clearance or blowout or something like that. But you really want to take a look at it. Sit on it a little bit. Is it gonna hold up? Because in my experience, if you run around buying the $1,500 version of what she's talking about, she spent $7,000 on, you're going to end up spending the $7,000 anyway in a year. So you just spent $8,500,
Well, and I think one thing to think about too, when you're doing it, is like, what percentage of your income for that summer season is that? Like, that's, we've paid for that in less than a week. So.
Wonderful. Look at you. Love it. What about, anybody do baby items? I'm doing a pack and play, and that's about it. And are there rental places in either of your markets?
Yeah, you can definitely get rentals done. And I'm doing pack and plays as well. I also provide just the silverware and stuff like that for like kids sippy cups and stuff like that. It's so cheap. Like, we just put it in there if we got space for it. And so
goldfish holders.
Definitely goldfish holders. That's right.
My whole life is goldfish holders. I've got like 1,000 of them, because if we run out of those goldfish holders, all hell breaks loose. You got to find
them. That's right.
And Joe's getting ready to have his first, so I'm going to send you a plethora of goldfish holders. You're going to, you're ways off. You're probably a couple of years off from needing that, really, but yeah.
I can stare at them until then, and I'll put them in the units for other people. But yeah, we're stocking them for people like you, bringing all the kids with all the goldfish holders we can possibly get.
I don't know what you even know what I'm talking about when I say that. They got I'm sure Beth knows.
We have one.
They have you have to stick your hand in it to get the goldfish out, and you can't spill it. Yeah, you got to have a million.
That's brilliant.
Oh, your truck is a goner, dude. It's Goldfish Nation.
So excited.
Yeah. Vacuum. You're going to need a vacuum.
Yeah. I definitely appreciate the baby items more now that I have a 1-year-old. But I will say, as a mom, I always bring my own pack and play. I'm always just a little too nervous about what the condition of somebody else's is. However, all of the other items, 100% using, the cups, the silverware, the plates, like anything that I don't have to bring if I know, okay, there's little sectioned plates, or, we have 3 levels in our property. So we supply baby gates, because your life would be impossible if you didn't have them and you have a toddler running around in that house. High chair. We have one of the super simple IKEA $30 high chairs. Everyone loves it because it's so easy to clean. There's not a single piece of fabric on it. And when you're on vacation, the last thing you want to be doing is scrubbing high chairs. So huge plug from me on the IKEA high chair.
And it's how much money?
$30.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's what we use in our own home too. Yeah, they're awesome. And they look nice. They're clean. They're just white, simple, pretty.
Okay. And then as far as the back end of setting everything up, you already, how do you tell the guests how to handle all this stuff? And what I do is we use Guidebooks, and there's a few options out there. Touch Day is very popular. Hostfully. There's one called DAC, which is an app. So the guests actually have to download it. So for me, that one's kind of not a great option. There's another one called You're Welcome. I'm personally using Touch Day. I really love it. It's very kind of annoying and confusing at first, but it's very beneficial. It makes your job easier, because dude if the guests are asking the person that booked a bunch of questions, he can just be like, dude, just read this. Leave me alone. So it really makes him, and he's the guy that's leaving you a review. So I like Touch Day just to kind of and put all this stuff in there is what I'm saying. Here's what we have at the house. It's going to have this. This is my coffee station. Yes, we've got a pack and play, so that if they start asking questions, they can just refer to the guidebook, and it's got everything in there. Beth, do you have a guidebook?
We don't yet, but I am in the process of working on a Touch Stay. So that's the one we decided to go with. We have a 1.5-year-old, so it's taken me a little longer to get that together than I was originally anticipating. So it's going to be for next summer's guests. They're going to have a beautiful new guidebook.
And Joe, you've got several properties. Are you using guidebooks?
I will. So I've got the Airbnb ones filled out, which they've been fine. But I still have the manual printed ones, which we are transitioning out of. And so I'm going to be moving to TouchStay. But right now, old reliable, got the laminated ones with the high end paper, and people just love it.
Printed paper,
baby.
Okay. All right.
We send the PDF. Yeah, we send the PDF. When people, once they've signed up and have their reservations, we send everything to them so they have it digitally. I also do keep a hard copy manual book. One tip that I heard that I think is really important, that I really do try to tell everybody: when you have those books and it's lying on the counter, have the address of your property printed on that first page. I mean, if there's an emergency, God forbid, you're going to have your list of all your emergency responders on there, but they'll say, well, where are you located? How many guests actually know the address of where they're staying? So that is another reason that I actually make that physical book, and I have it there so that they can just, as they're looking at the phone number, the address is right there if they need it. I don't know. I like that.
Love it. Okay, well, I think we've covered most everything for getting your property up and running. Just keep in mind, again, you're going to run to Home Depot about 1,000 times, and it's going to be good times, good memories. Anybody have any closing thoughts?
Just do it. Make it happen.
Let it rip.
It feels like a lot, but once you do it once, then you got the game plan. It's done. You just rinse and repeat.
Love it. Well, thank you, Beth, Joe, Meg, on behalf of the Short-Term Show from the beaches of North Carolina. Thank you so much, and don't overthink it.